Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for being on Deal or No Deal Island.
I love Deal or No Deal Island.
It's my first time watching. I watched it for you.
Oh, thank you. I feel honored.
Tell me about why this was the show that you wanted to be on. Clearly you enjoyed watching it.
I enjoyed watching it. I love watching Rob play. It was so fun. And then Joe Manganiello is the host. He's perfect for the role. It's on an exotic private island, undisclosed. It's got a little Charlie's Angels, a little Austin Powers, a little Survivor, a little Game of Intrigue. I was like, I gotta play this game.
Because I feel like you were after Traitors last year. You're like, I don't know if I might be like, I feel this happens. You guys like to soft retire, and then unretire,
right?
So what was happening with you then? That then you were like, but this show I'm gonna go on.
I unretired double time because I did Deal or No Deal Island and I did Australian Survivor versus the World in one summer, back to back. So there's something that gets in my blood about these reality competition games, that they're peak experiences, they're life-changing experiences, and who gets the opportunity to play them more than once? It feels like a blessing and a curse that I have to sort of like Spider-Man, it's my responsibility.
It is.
I owe it to the world and myself.
You do.
To play these games.
You do. And this is an interesting one because you're coming at it from a perspective with someone who has a lot of reality TV background, playing a game that with a lot of people that don't necessarily have any reality TV background. Is that exciting for you? Is that scary for you? Do you feel expectations? What are you thinking in that sense?
Well, they don't have any reality TV background, but they have huge personalities, which I'm used to. When I play these games, you play with people with big personalities, so I'm like, okay, well, that's the same. But then when it comes to gameplay and strategy, people who've never done a reality competition, they don't understand. It feels real when you're in the moment, and you can get, these people can get really caught up in the drama and the emotionality and everything. So it does kind of make them easier to maneuver in a way, because you know how their emotions are going to guide them and they're not going to be able to stop that. So for me, I'm like, okay, as long as I can sit back and above, sort of like put myself on like a lifeguard stand above them and watch the kids play in the pool and just make sure they're safe, and then pluck them out as I need them, and then let them keep swimming along with each other.
There you go.
Yeah, that's sort of my analogy.
I like that analogy. And is that the plan going in or you have to see the personalities first?
I always have to see the personalities. I can't really make a plan until I know what I'm working with. So I have refined that ability to just kind of wait, be patient, sit in the unknown, don't stress too much about what's to come. And then just when it comes, it feels like this. Reality TV is really fun because it feels like a big improv experience.
Okay.
I don't know, were you into improv?
No, but I would love to try.
Okay, well, people that get into improv, they're like really into it, but
yes, and that's all I know.
Yes, and exactly. That's how I feel when I play these games. I'm like, okay, this is happening. Yes, let me receive this. Let me use this to my advantage. And how do I make this work for me better? Okay. So I just show up with that kind of open mindset, and then it really works out well.
There you go. Okay. Speaking of, you mentioned some of these people have big personalities. Sydney was really something to watch. What was she like in real life?
Hot Mess Express, Sydney. Oh my God, babe. Yikes. She was having a time.
Yeah.
And I think Sydney thought she was really running the show.
Yeah.
And so it was like the level of, felt pretty delusional. It was like, what's reality and what's inside Sydney's mind of reality don't match up. So yeah, I was like, oh, okay. When I saw her at the airport, she had The Art of Seduction, that book in her bag, and I was like, I got your number, girl. I read that book. I know what that's about. So I thought she was going to come in with some moves. And then when I saw how she was operating, I was like, oh, she needs to keep reading.
She needs to keep reading. I think we need her on another show, though.
She was funny.
I was very sad to see her go.
I tried to keep her around. I'm like, we need her around for the chaos. But, people have minds of their own in these games.
They do. These kids, what are you going to do with them?
These days.
As they were calling you mom.
I know.
What was that like? What was it?
Well, I am a mom.
I know, but not to these children.
I'll be Dixon's mom.
You'll be Dixon's mom.
Yes. There's something about him when we were sitting on that swing and he was telling us the story about how his parents essentially gave him up for adoption when he was 3 months old, and he grew up with this older white couple as his mom and dad. I'm like, oh man, all right, I'll be your mom.
Yeah.
Take you under my wing. But I know he's got ice in his veins because the stuff he was saying when Luke went home that first episode, like Luke loved Dixon. Luke was giving Dixon his jewel, or like his watch. He's like, protect Dixon at all costs is what he said to me. And I was like, are you sure? Because Dixon was like, I don't want this watch. Like tossed it in his bag. I'm like, oh, he doesn't really, he's not feeling the same kind of warmth towards other people as they're feeling towards him. People felt very protective of him, but I knew that was like, this is a strategic alliance.
Right.
If he's got to go, he's got to go.
He's got to go. So again, it goes back to maybe not technically reality competition experience, but these casting directors, they knew they were hiring people that were going to know how to play a game.
Oh, with me and David and Will?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, if
They
you're
can keep
bringing in reality competitors who have experience, we're going to run circles around the new players.
Yeah. Let's talk about Dr. Will.
Yeah.
What was your reaction when you saw him? I know you weren't necessarily so thrilled.
Well, I was like, I don't really know that much about Dr. Will. I only know what I saw of him on Traders when he guest hosted the challenge in the creepy cabin. So I'm like, oh, he's an odd man. And also I know he's a Big Brother legend, so that's all I knew about him. And I was like, okay, well, he's another big threat coming into the game, so we can play together.
Yeah.
But then when he showed up in a tux and then spouted off all of these statistics about me, I was like, he's a stalker who makes weird fashion choices. This is not my guy. Not my guy.
Oh my God.
And then it just got worse from there.
Yeah, tease me what's going to happen. What's this dynamic going to be like? What do we have to look forward to?
We are like, it's a classic dynamic of a pathological narcissist and someone who has, really learned how to I've really learned how to assert myself around those types of people and kind of put boundaries up and let them know, like, your game that you're playing doesn't work for me. So this has to stop. Okay. So there is definitely going to be a power struggle that occurs between Will and I, and he doubles down and digs his heels in, and so do I. So
it's going to be like a battle of the Survivor fandom and the Big Brother fandom, which is very similar. A lot of overlap.
I think
How are
so.
they going to feel about two of their favorites not getting along?
Well, look, Will hasn't been on Big Brother in 20 years. So I feel like I have the recency bias of the fans. Hopefully the fans have a little bit more warmth and support for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need it because he's crazy. I could be crazy too, but like he's really out of his mind. Yeah.
Where does David fall into all of this? Because it's interesting, he has the experience, but not as much of the necessary notoriety, since it wasn't like American television that he was on, American Survivor. You obviously knew who he was. You were prepared. You guys, I'm loving at least what we've seen so far of you guys working together. But now that there's three of you, three gamers in the game with our new friends, where is he gonna go with the dynamic? What can you tell me about that?
Well, nobody knows who David is. Will doesn't know who David is.
Okay.
So I'm the only person who knows who David is. Will's like trying to figure him out. Will would like stop me on the path and be like, I think that David is the Boston Rob of Survivor Australia. And I was like, Will, you're out of your mind. Like, what makes you think that? He sucks in challenges. He's kind of a dum-dum. I just kept playing that up, and Will was like, oh, curses, foiled.
Oh my God, that's so good.
But Will and David also, there's going to be a power struggle with those two. I think David respects Will's style because David is like a performer, a Survivor competitor / performer. Okay. Like, he knows how to play the role of ham it up, be a villain,
right,
play into what the audience wants to see. Will takes that to the extreme. So David's like, God, he's like a method actor. Yeah. And I was like, no, he's not. He's just insane.
You're like, please, I'm the method actor. Oh, that's so good. Okay, so the whole other aspect of this game is like the playing of Deal or No Deal.
Yeah.
And, there's strategy in that, obviously. When you knew you were going to have to go into that part, when you won, just the pyramid aspect of it all, what was it like to, after seeing it on TV and then going to the first two or whatever, were you like, this is what I thought it was going to be, this is more intense, this is like longer, like what is that, just BTS of those scenes?
Well, the challenges are really intense and complex, and the challenges change every single time. Right. So it's not the same. You can't rely on, oh, there's going to be two people safe, everyone else is in the bottom. They've changed it. It's really dynamic. It's really fluid. So when I was getting ready mentally for the challenges in the day from camp, I'm like, well, I don't know what to expect, so I just need to be in the most grounded, confident, peaceful, calm, like eyes open, present state to be able to absorb all the information that's happening at lightning speed and then be able to win these challenges. So it just required a different level of operating for me because it's so nonlinear. It's just you're in sort of like a swirling stew of challenge numbers, millions of dollars, social dynamics, like twist surprises at the end, and you're like, oh, okay, I just gotta do my best. And then in the end, hope for the win. But then when we get back from the challenges, you're back on the beach, and most of the day was taken up with the challenge, but you gotta get ready for Temple to play Deal or No Deal. And then the strategy shifts because you have maybe sometimes 20 or 30 minutes to shower the mud off of you from the challenge, wash your hair, dry your hair, put your makeup on, get yourself dressed, and strategize and convince these new reality contestants who've never played a reality game to do what you want them to do. And they're all like running around with chickens, like chickens with their heads cut off. Then when you get to the temple, it's like, okay, new strategy. So I sort of started to think a bit about temple as tribal council. So I was like, this is my forum. If I want to influence anyone and I don't have power per se of who goes up to play, I could say something and maybe get people's heads, wheels turning in their heads, use this as like a tribal moment. So I started to play like that, and then people are going up playing the banker, the person who's on the bottom now might have all the power. Hopefully they go away. Like,
it's a lot.
So the strategy is so layered in such a different way to any game I've ever played.
Oh, it's so good though. It's really fascinating because I think I was like, oh, we're playing Deal or No Deal? Like, what's happening? And then I was like, oh wow, there's like a lot of steps before we play Deal or No Deal, and then you actually have to just play and kind of just hope for the best because there's only so much you can really do about guessing the suitcases.
Exactly, agree. Unless you have psychic sight, which someone on this cast might have.
Oh, that's
just
a good
gonna
tease.
drop that for you.
Okay, we have a psychic among us.
We might have that.
Okay. Well, I want to ask you, you have a book coming out.
I do.
Tell me about Nice Girls Don't Win.
This is my memoir, and it covers my whole life up until very recent, up until coming back from playing Deal or No Deal.
Oh wow, okay.
That's the epilogue. So it's like, I mean, it's a journey of going from a really naive sort of like, oh no, I just want to be liked and I want people to like think I'm great, to I really know who I am. I'm able to make these decisions and create a life that I really love that is so authentic to me. So I share stories about getting cast on Survivor, going out and playing, what that was like for me. And Traitors is in there, my marriage, having a baby, my divorce, and then getting into a queer relationship for the first time in my life. It covers the whole range, and it's pretty vulnerable and very intimate and stories that I've never shared.
Ooh. Was it cathartic? Was it fun? Was it scary to write?
It was all of those things. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I have birthed a baby, and I've played 5 seasons of Survivor. So it was like, it was big time.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I'm a different person because I wrote the book. I have really reclaimed my power and my voice.
And I assume excited for people to read it, obviously, but is there any sort of like nerves or like, maybe I shouldn't have gone there with that story, but oh well, or this person might be like, great, don't love that one, or like, how does that feel about getting ready? Because one thing to write it's another thing to then let everybody
everyone read it. I know, and I am a chronic oversharer in my life, I think, but it hasn't been public in this way. So some of the stories are really vulnerable. Like I wrote about the death of my brother and what that was like. So with my parents reading it, I'm like, I'm sorry, please. I ask for forgiveness instead of permission kind of a thing. And then with my dating life, there's some of that in there that I'm like, hopefully is fine for them. But when I got my book deal, I got the call from Random House and they're like, we want this. I thought I was having a heart attack. I was like, I'm dying. I think I need to check myself into the urgent care because I think my body was having a reaction to knowing that I was gonna have to follow through and really put these stories out into the world. And it was terrifying.
Well, if that's not a tease that there's gonna be some interesting stuff to dive into, I don't know what would be.
There is. You can pre-order it now.
I just might have to. Nice Girls Don't Win. Obviously, we kind of know that can be a play on Survivor, but why was that the title?
Well, yeah, that was the title because Sandra and I had that feud, Nice Girls Don't Win Survivor or Build Lives They Love. I really believe that. I think that when I talk about being nice, it's different from being kind. I think I'm a kind person, be kind, I want everyone to be kind. But being nice has this like stickiness to it that is like, I'm gonna be nice to you so you like me. So you like want to give me the things that I want from you. So really it's about stop trying to be liked and start living your life authentically for you. And then you will find a way to win whatever it is that you're doing in your life.
Ooh, I like that. There is a difference between kind and nice. I like that.
Right.
Okay.
Because my daughter is very upset about the title.
Oh, really? How old is she now?
She's 6 years old.
Okay.
And she goes, Mom, that's not true. Nice girls do win.
And how do you
She's
answer that?
mad about it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Sometimes nice girls do win,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like a cheeky hook. And you
Like,
know,
Mom is kind of known for this iconic survivor
I am a
portrayal.
villain, and
You're gonna get it
sorry.
one day.
She is, but she watched me poison Ekin-Su, and she's like, oh my God, Mom, you're the bad guy.
Oh God. Okay, so Traitors. You can watch some scenes from Traitors at 6. That's the one we dabbled with.
She watched one episode of
Okay.
Traitors, and then it was too much for her. But she watched Deal or No Deal, and she loved it. She
good.
loves MG. That's her
Okay.
favorite. She loves David.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Love. A little dabble in. You know, gotta ease her in. There's a lot to unpack.
her in, because she's already very competitive and wants to be famous, so I'm a little nervous.
Of course she does. Your mom.
Yeah.
This season of Traitors. Are you watching? Are you enjoying it?
I'm loving the season of Traitors. They have so many survivors on. Jeremy, Carolyn, Tony, Rob. Oh my God, I love watching Rob be a traitor. It's so fun. Him at the round table, it's just not to be missed.
Did you and Rob exchange any notes? All right, this is your Deal or No Deal tips. This is your Traitors tips. Since you guys kind of, this time last year we were watching Rob and we were watching you on Traitors, and now we got the reverse, which how lucky are we to have both of you back on our screens. Thank you, Peacock. But what is it? Like, did you guys talk about either of the games?
Yeah, we talk. I mean, we're good friends. So I was like, Rob, you gotta upscale your fashion choices. You cannot wear your basketball shorts and your tank. Wear a pearly headband. I have got a bunch. I'll send them over. He was like, no way. I'm not wearing a headband.
He was like, black hat at least.
Black
We'll go.
hat. I'm like, the drag queens are gonna get mad at you for that. You should
Yeah.
put on a headband. And then he told me to play the banker. He's like, any chance you get, if you're in the bottom, you need to play the banker. Take your fate into your hands.
All right. Did you listen to him?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. And just last Traitors question, watching this week, obviously, Rob, you know, he blew up Bob the Drag Queen's game. It worked in his favor for now. A risky move on Traitors, because you got to keep going to turn on the Traitors. What did you think of the move that he made?
I thought it was bold to go up against Bob the Drag Queen. Bob is the most outspoken, vocal, very well-liked guy in the castle. And for Rob to go head-to-head with another traitor that early on, I was like, risky maneuver. But he can't stop himself.
Yeah.
That's Rob's game. He does not play a behind-the-scenes game. He doesn't fly under the radar. He wants to be the alpha, the top dog. And that's why he's so fun to watch.
Yeah, very true. It's hard with those round tables because it feels like the gamers' move should always just be like, let the more maybe messy classic reality stars kind of just air it all out and play the strategy game. But at the same time, when you're like, we got to move this along. Like, how long are we going to go in circles about something like that? And you have your challenger, Big Brother, your Survivor people who like are ready to just nail somebody.
Dive in, stake them to the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, and I forgot. I just blanked on what I was going to say about Rob at the round table. Oh, it looked like people were kind of like circling the drain, and he was like, oh, I got to go in for the kill.
Yes.
And I do love that about his gameplay. His style is just like, he is kind of a mob boss.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be able to survive all the way to the end as a traitor, because I think now people are going to be really suspicious of him.
Yeah.
Because you don't like stick to your guns that hard unless you know something.
Yeah, true.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
If he's able to, if anyone can get themselves out of trouble, it's Rob.
It's Rob.